Hello and welcome back to another video, and as you can see it's another Sunday video because I set the course rally, but I've given up on it, so you'll get the video today and another one on Tuesday. I'll get more into that video later, but for today what we're going to be looking at is, as you can see, the Automobilista 2 2026 development preview. And this is a long text where Renato describes what is planned in AMS2. So as I said, planned, which means these things may or may not happen in the time frames given, and yeah, basically that. And then a lot of it will be DLC. It says most of it, I think. Well, either way, you'll figure it out when the time comes. But from just the beginning here, as you can see, we have a formula car. From the front wing, you may think it's a modern 2026 F1 car, but you look closer back and the rear makes it look more like a mid-noughties Formula car. I don't know fully when. So this start, it's them basically starting that discussion. Again, here is a long reflection on AMS2, where AMS2 is, where Renato talks a bit about himself and about Reiza. Hopefully, this here. To rethink what AMS2 already does well and expand. No, there was somewhere here, I think. He talks about expanding Reiza, which we already know is happening. Either way, you have another view of a similar Formula 1 car here. Similar front wing. But this is in Monaco. This one looks to be Spa, I would say. And they talk about... And here now they talk about the development roadmap. And the main thing for now, which they will be talking about, is V1.7, which I will be also talking about. But before that, you have the cars here. So this one looks closer to like maybe end of the noughties, or maybe like 08, around when Hamilton won the World Championship, because of this front wing. And you can see here, this one's more basic, so this might be like 06. And then you have Porsche Moby Dick, which I talked about in one of my previous videos, and you have the Ford Capri Group 5, which has been found in the files. Now we get to V1.7. And V1.7, as we all know, will be the big milestone update. Last year didn't really have any big milestone updates because V1.6 was so delayed from mid 2024, and then it became the end of 2024. So then 2025, and then also the start of 2025 they had a few issues. So V1.7 will be towards the end of Q2, and easy for me is that he has highlighted a lot of these things. So they begin with the single player gameplay. So as assumed, they will obviously develop AI racing a lot more. And what a big thing they are planning to add is to save and resume races which are already in progress. So this has been a major issue with current AMS2 and Madness engine because of live track and how it works. But now you can supposedly save and resume states. So as I understand, there will be some limitations to that. He hasn't really clarified on it, but as I understand it, like there might be some discrepancies in in the rubbered in line and the wet lines, and those type of things are not really, like, if the preset says thunderstorms, I hope it still is thunderstorms and doesn't just become clear sky. So that's hopefully what happens. And the next thing, which I believe is a thing, I don't think any other sim has it except maybe Race Room, and that is an option integrated into AMS2 where you can actually join and sign up to scheduled third-party races. So like Just Race, which is more for league racing, and Low Fuel Motorsports, which work for like scheduled races, a bit if you raced in Assetto Corsa Competizione, LMU now, and I believe iRacing have similar. Yeah, it's a bit like iRacing. So yeah, it's basically like that. And I've bet iRacing has their own thing integrated. But I don't think any other sim. I haven't heard of Assetto Corsa Competizione having it. LMU, Assetto Corsa Evo, and Rally don't have it. So yeah, I think AMS2 and Race Room will be the two unique ones there. So that will be very cool. And this car, I mean, I will talk a bit more about this car, but there is a video I saw. I don't remember it, but there's a video I saw on Group 5 cars a long time ago. I believe it was from Automobilist. He's a very good YouTube channel. And there he talks about how this Porsche Moby Dick is a bit of a Frankenstein Porsche. And as I said in my video, there is the thing where the Porsche has sort of two rear windshields. Everything will be shown when the actual Porsche gets added to AMS2. And then it seems like they're going to, for quality of life, they're going to include new UI localization options and improve content filtering sorting options. So I hope they make that like you can choose country, you can choose type of circuit, then maybe manufacturer, maybe you can even add some as your favorite. So you can have like Spa, GT3, maybe the AMG. So you can have that as your favorite. Maybe you can have favorite combos and like races. That would be fun. But this UI localization options, I don't know exactly what that means. As I understand, it could mean the languages. Because I saw one of the main Korean AMS2 community member who has, I believe he's called Young Il Yoon, if I recall correctly. I talked to him a bit on Discord because he helped me quite a bit with the wiki. Either way, I hope it leads to more talking, and maybe in the future I can maybe work with Reiza and figure out some way to include Swedish. Let's move on. So you have the overhauled HUD, which I've already seen a few pictures of in one of the past dev updates, and hopefully, yeah, that gets completed. Feature complete as of the next public release, so that's a good thing to know. And if you hear any like rustling, it's not the cat, it's me who I had a little bit of bleeding off my finger. You don't have to worry though. Now we get to further simulation improvements. So they have the tire damage properties, which I've talked about in my AMS2 Renato Q&A video. So that most likely means the tire curing, graining, and blistering. If you want more details on what those are, check out that video. And I also assume that could mean punctures, because that has, as far as I understand, been disabled in AMS2 for quite a while. And hopefully it gets added because it's a very common thing which happens. Better wind simulation. That sounds very interesting because I don't know. I know wind impacts the braking performance, but I wonder if it improves maybe cooling performance if you have the wind. I know they have altitude. I don't know if wind speed is anything about it. Maybe it also affects your handling. And then some other dynamic weather and track improvements. Not additions though, which is unfortunate because you have more dynamic weather options. That could include snow, but I don't see that as an option for the close for the time for the current time. For the time being, I can't really think straight. Then you have logistical realism options, such as limited tire sets, which is like F1 has currently, tow and repair delays of the incidents, which would be cool for like multiplayer, and then limited spare parts. So those could be for multiplayer, but the limited spare parts and limited tire sets sounds for me more like championship and career mode. So that's a cool feature. And they have been working on it for the past 2 years. I read this a few days ago, so I mean it's a bit iffy because I remember this dropping from out of nowhere. They have animated trackside flag marshals, as it sounds. Dynamic crowd reactions, that would be cool. I don't know how they would do them, but maybe they would do like the Mexican wave. And then support for animated driver interactions are on the agenda. That one has been talked about a lot. If you can like simulate what's happened in real life, like flipping the bird or doing some more inappropriate signs, I should just say. If you want to know, join my AMS2 Discord. And these cars, you might not know what they are, but they are the same car. Either way, they are, as I understand it, like 0506, the same area as the Formula 1 car up top, but in DTM. So if you don't know DTM, they now are a GT3 series, but they used to be their own class where they have their own set of rules. I believe they had, at first they had, I believe they had GT1 cars for quite, no, that was NLS. But yeah, DTM cars had their own classes. You have the group, I know Group 1 you had for long term, which is in race room, and then you had a lot of different car classes. Most recently was the Class 1 International, I believe the official name was, where they wanted to make DTM and Super GT the same car class. It didn't work that well, so yeah, DTM died, and Super GT is the same. So hopefully these car additions actually are a positive to AMS2, and if you want to, in the meantime, want to drive a lot of them, I would suggest downloading Race Room because it's free, and then buying the cars. And then these are more throughout the year things, so they will include support for more diverse sets of technical and sporting regulations, including different qualifying and race formats. That would be cool. Hopefully they add in qualifying tires too, which I believe they had for old cars. Virtual safety cars, that's a cool F1 feature. Park fireman rules, another F1 feature. Ballast rules, that would be cool for GT3 racing. A wider range of pit stop restrictions. I don't know what that could mean. Maybe fuel and damage. That would be cool. Additional championship scoring options, so more realistic. That's good. Along with support for inter-series class split scoring leaderboards. And now I understand that Renato's finally revealed it. So the big thing, which he names in the Ligier European Series, Porsche Cup F3 and Lancer Cup. So basically, if we take the Ligier European Series, because that's the most recent and major one, you have two cars which in real life race technically in the same series, but one car, basically it's LMP2s versus LMP3s. Just, I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that, but you can understand it as that. Or if you're an open wheeler guy, F2 versus F3. Basically that type, where they are very different in speed. They were racing together, and basically, if you wanted to win or get points for winning a race, you had to be in the quickest car in that class. It does in AMS2, so it doesn't matter if you're in the slower car, or it doesn't matter if you're in the slower car, because you wouldn't get any points. What they're trying to do is, so even if you're driving the slower car, that would be its own sort of car class. So even though they're in the same Ligier European Series class, they will get points for each car. So you can be like, places 1, 2 are one type of car, and then third place is a different type of car. Then 1 and 2 will be 1 and 2 in that car class, and then P3 will be P3 overall, but P1 in its for the car spec. So that's a very cool feature. And then they're also boosting user customization options and improved modding support, including a support for modding individual car performance. So yeah, basically BOP. But I wonder what these user customization options are. Maybe if you get to design your own driver, your own helmet, your own racing suits, that would be cool. So if you're driving your own car as yourself, then you don't have the racing suit associated to that car or helmet, but you have your own. That would be a cool option, actually. And then you have creating and sharing custom presets as well as championship files. So that would be also very cool feature. And then the career mode, it sounds like they are going to delay it again, which is expected. But it seems like they're going to start implementing it in the latter half of 2026, so at the end. It's Renato, and he names a date. Don't expect it to happen. As we said with V1.7 Q2, it might as well happen Q3. This thing might as well happen in 2027. Either way, be happy that you're getting it, and with the delays, it will be improved. I mean, I think they initially said that the career mode would come in 2024, 2025. That didn't happen, and I see it as a positive, and you should too. So people shouldn't be complaining. The car, again, another series we have talked about. We have talked about DTM. We have talked about two old F1 series. Now this one is my favorite one, in which has shown off, and that's Super Tourers. So if I recall correctly, yes, you have the BMW at the top, you have the Audi at the bottom, the A4. Super Tours were basically sort of like a late. It started, as I understand it, in the 90s, where these road cars, they wanted them to be like quicker and sportier. So they had took modern cars, which looked like the cars you would see on the road, slapped a few things on top, tuned them a bit, and made them a lot faster and a lot cooler. Unfortunately, they have only revealed the Audi and the BMW. Because if you know me, you know I'm Swedish. And there were two big super touring cars. You have the S40. I believe there were possibly three. Either way, you have the S40, which is in race room. But then you have a car which isn't officially in MK. And that is the Volvo, I believe it was the 850R station wagon. And that car, oh my days, if that comes to AMS2, you know I'm going to love that thing. And I'm going to drive it a lot. Because my family, we have a Volvo station wagon. Not as old, but still. A Volvo station wagon, I'm going to drive it. And I'm going to love that thing. And then we have another car. We'll be talking about that soon. So yeah, for expanding, they've talked about the content. So what they're going to do it for a lot of racing series. They've had problems, I think it says. Yeah, delivering such ambitious plans with full depth. It would take decades to produce, many extra zeros in a budget, and the untangling of impossibly complex web of third-party IPs. That is where modding comes in, because if you make modding easier, then you don't really have to think about IPs when the game is dead. You can help a few mods, and then it becomes a bit better. You don't get affected because you're not the one creating anything. So I mean, that's a positive. Another positive is my fingers stop bleeding. So basically, yeah, what they're going to do, or with these cards, they will talk about a bit later. But this has been in defaults for a long time. I believe it's called the McLaren M8B. If I recall correctly, it's from Can-Am, which we will talk about a bit later. But basically, that's for Canada, America, which was a racing series in, you guessed it, Canada and US. And the McLaren race there, I think they were quite successful. And if I recall correctly, the M8B was the last car Bruce McLaren ever drove. Don't quote me on that, but if I recall correctly, it was the M8B. He was test driving one of their prototypes from one of their, I believe it was the Can-Am cars, and he crashed and he died. But I believe it was the M8B, which was the last one he drove in and actually survived afterwards. And this is the Porsche 917K, which I made a big part of my old Le Mans content video on. And I also raced around Le Mans 1971, basically, in that Porsche 917K in Portugal too, in a previous video. So if you want to see me talk about that car, you can talk about it. You can watch my previous video. I would just say though, if we make this image a bit bigger, that balaclava and helmet don't look fully realistic, I would say. I don't think they had them that way. I remember the old, like, Niki Lauda, his old balaclava where you had the thing in the middle of your face, so only your eyes were visible, like your nose was fully covered. So I hope they add that. Here it comes. At the moment, the current roadmap looks roughly like this. First update comes with the Formula Pack fitting various caps in our 2000 and 2010's Formula roster. Basically, what that means is they will probably add, from the files and also from guessing, they will be adding a F1 car from 0405 V10 Gen 3, so that when they were the quickest around 04, I think 04 or 05. Then you have a V8 car, so like 06, 07, 6 and 7. I love making that joke. I know a lot of people hate it. Too bad. Then after that, you will get like 08 for a V8 Gen 2. V8 08, 09. Depends on a bit what you want. I mean, 08 cars look better. 09 had the double diffuser. It all depends, I would say. Maybe 07 and 09. We have to see. Then you have, the V10, the Formula Reiza, I believe. Don't think they're going to do some things there. Then you have Formula Hybrid Gen 1 of, which will be, what's it called now? It will be a car from 14 to 16, which was in AMS2 as the Formula Extreme, I believe. And that car is basically the Formula Hybrid Gen 2, just with a lot less downforce and a lot less grip. And that's it for that content pack. I mean, they're going to probably add the 2026 car. I don't know if they're going to add it straight away. I think it's better if they wait. Then you have, from there, we'll take a step back to complement our very popular 2005 Endurance pack from last year with the second part of our historical endurance pack. Sounds very interesting. I don't know what that is. Tracks to help the DTM cars, or it could mean more cars. I mean, from what it sounds like, they might add Hockenheim 05, maybe some other weird German tracks from 05. I mean, you have a German racetrack which was in AMS1, I know, which I've heard a lot of people wanting for AMS2, so hopefully that comes. Then they will travel way back for part 3 for the late 1960s Can-Ams, as I said, and early to late 1970s Le Mans prototypes. I really hope, and late 1970s Group 5s, I really hope this means they're adding, at least I hope they add one Ford, a Ford GT40. That would be very cool. I mean, it's sort of, either that they will add it or it will come as a mod, along with several circuits from that era. I don't know what circuits they could add, but it sounds like they might be adding a few old tracks, or they're going to add some weird 1970s Sebring. What more do you have? Laguna Seca, maybe. We will have to see. Then they will jump up a couple of decades to 1990s British touring cars, so Super Tourers. One of the big ones was the station wagon, I'll just point out. And then they will go to 05 for DTM cars. And then finally it's back to model times in order to catch up with as much as we are able in what we might still be missing in various fronts. I assume that might be... What do you have? I think Genesis, like /Honda, are going to race their LMDH car this year, so it could be adding that. Maybe an Acura. We will have to wait and see. Do keep in mind, it's not final. Well, the order of the factors though should not alter the final 2026 AMS product. And we will see what happens. And they will add a few updates. This is an interesting paragraph for you to pause and read. And then we get to contribution. This is also, I believe it is one of the old Maseratis, which is in the game files. Could be cool, could not be so cool, we have to see. And then this, how can you contribute? Well, as what they assume, or what they're telling you is basically buy all the DLC. and buy the game and help out, so you give a lot of money. But they're also reevaluating a couple of options to attenders who really want to take their involvement one step further, as well as the urging for one and done purchase option, including potentially reopening the Paddock Club. And Paddock Club is what I'm in, and what I joined, I think it's close to 4 years now, where basically you pay, well, I paid $100 back in the day. I mean, the dollar is a lot, how do you call it now? Not as, it's a lot weaker than what it was, so you might gain a lot of money compared to me. Either way, what you will do is gain access to all DLC, future and past, when they come out, for free, because you pay that. You also get access to the AMS2 beta forum, and you get to take part in the AMS2 beta test races. Basically, what you do is help AMS2 find Reiza, find bugs, help fix them, help diagnose some stuff, maybe talk about some things, but not directly with Reiza. Basically, you become a more tighter packed AMS2 community. But what do you think about these good additions? I mean, this video is a lot longer than I expected it to be. Either way, what did you think? Comment it down below. And once you're down there, please hit the like button and also subscribe. My next video will be the part 2 to the circuit rankings. And yeah, so that will be another long one. So if you have skipped this video and going to watch, or if you're watching this video now and watching the second video there instantly afterwards, good luck. Either way, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my amazing friends. Thank you for watching. Good.